It's like advertising standard, isn't it? I have to be very careful. If I say the word relax too early, then you can sue me if I don't. I will let you start lying on your backs this evening, principally because I don't know about anyone else, but I've been sat at a desk all day today and my back needs a really good stretch. So I think that'd be a nice place to start. So I'm going to lead a little bit and suggest that we start with knees bent so that you can bring the flats of the feet to rest on the floor, and so that you can really allow the wide space behind the shoulder blades to fully rest into the mat as you soften the neck, unclench the jaw, and just set yourself an intention. An intention for the next hour. You're going to focus on the body, on the breath, on recharging your body, bringing some positive energy back to the body, kind of shaking off, if you like, that mid-week slump. Take care that we're not clenching the jaws, that we've softened the eyebrows. Perhaps turn the palms up towards the ceiling, demonstrating a receptivity. Taking a little more space if you need, widening the hands, widening the knees if that's more comfortable. Gently bringing the focus to the breath. And just for a moment, tuning into the rhythm of your breath. Resist the temptation to force the breath. Just follow the breath from the tip of the nose, along the nasal passages. Feel the warmth of the breath at the back of the throat. And then as you allow a deepening, a lengthening of the breath, start to feel that expansion through the chest, through the rib cage, perhaps lifting the collarbones. Draw the breath all the way to the base of the lungs. That sense of widening the space through the back. Noticing that with every inhalation, it almost feels as though the body rises. With every exhalation, you feel the weight of your bones settle a little deeper into the earth beneath you. It's in that sense of the settling that we can start to let go of anything that doesn't serve us. Unavoidably, we will have brought to our practice this evening some of the stresses of the day, some of the tensions that may have built up in your body, perhaps a preoccupation with something on your to-do list. Remind yourself that you've set an intention to create a union of the body and the breath, deepening the inhalation, lengthening the exhalation. And in that out-breath, encouraging a letting go, releasing tension from the body, sticking a pin in your to-do list, knowing that you can pick it up later. Now in this softer state, as you allow the body to relax a little more deeply, encourage the mind to quiet. Take your focus down through the length of the body, tuning into any parts of the body that may be asking for a little extra attention. There may be a part of the body where stress or tension manifests for you. You're perhaps aware of overdoing it in one part of the body. Check in with the usual suspects, tension through the back of the neck, perhaps feeling the shoulders a little tight. Noticing without judgment if you hold one hip higher than the other. Just become aware of all these perfectly imperfect imbalances in the body. Through the work of our practice tonight, we'll find a centre. We'll create a little harmony and balance in the body. But most importantly, we'll create space for acceptance, for just being who we are, as we are, and as we turn up for ourselves through the practice. Now I want you to take a minute to notice your connection with the floor beneath you. Notice the parts of the body that feel heavier. Notice the parts of your body that barely touch the floor. Perhaps you have a slightly more exaggerated lift in the lower back. Perhaps you hold some tension yet in the back of the neck. Take a moment to gently roll through the back of the head, almost as though you're drawing the nose from one side to the other, loosening any tension in the neck, letting go of any creaks and groans here. Then as you return the head to centre, take a deep breath in to fill the chest. On the breath out, nod the chin towards the chest. On your next inhalation, visualize an expansion through the collarbones. On the exhalation, see if you want to draw the chin a little closer to the chest. Sometimes this creates a little lift through the back of the shoulders, almost like a massaging action. Inhale again to create space through the front of the body. As you exhale, mindfully draw the tummy button in towards the spine and return your head to a neutral position. Still a little bit of release in the back of the neck. On your next in-breath, squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. On the out-breath, extend the fingertips away, drawing the shoulders from the ears and creating a little length through the upper body. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders up. As you exhale, extend the fingertips away, lengthening through the side of the neck. One more time to inhale and squeeze the shoulders up. Those of us lying on our backs, it's hard to shrug. So just mindfully let go of the tension here. Release. Lift the hands from the mat and gently draw little circles in towards the midline of the body. Change direction. Take those hands and wrists the opposite way. Bring the fingertips in towards the palms to make fists. Inhale to once more squeeze the shoulders up, holding that tension all the way down to the clenched fist. Then as you exhale, relax the shoulders, open the fingers wide, spread the fingers. Let's take a moment to extend the arms out to the side, palms turned up towards the ceiling, shoulder blades drawn together. Now mindfully visualize the belly lifting on the inhale. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in. See if we can round the hollow of the back down towards the floor. And inhale to widen and expand. And exhale to draw the tummy button in and engage. One more expansion through that inhalation. And engagement through the exhalation. Now allow the arms to once more simply rest down by your sides. Some of you are sitting upright, and that's absolutely fine. And when you started a little bit later, most of us are actually on the floor. So I'm just going to take a moment to allow you to get to the floor with knees bent. And now we're all in the same place together. On the next inhalation, lift both arms overhead. We're going to take 2 or 3 breaths to allow time to bring the full weight of the arms to touch the floor. Back of the hands, softening the upper arms, tuning in and noticing without judging if there's any tension in the shoulders, if the middle back feels to have lifted excessively from the floor. Work with the breath to expand and widen here. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in here and just encourage that little bit of support into the lower back. On the next out breath, hug the right knee in, bring the hands to the shin, apply a little pressure and just gently round the knee in towards the chest. On the next out breath, redirect that knee out towards the right shoulder, just creating a little space in the inner thigh. Very gentle, not excessive. Bring the knee back again to centre. Then let's reposition both hands behind the back of the thigh, supporting the thigh here as you press through the heel, bringing that leg to a perpendicular. So for most of us, there'll be a little bend in the knee. It's quite difficult to get a full length of leg here. As you exhale, draw the thigh a little closer. As you inhale, push through the heel and resist the temptation of lifting the bottom from the floor. Inhale to point the toe. Exhale to flex. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex. And that banging you're hearing in the background is the dog trying to get my attention. Press through the heel. On the next out breath, draw the thigh a little closer. Then we'll gently soften that right knee and we'll replace that foot to the floor. Inhale now to widen through the chest, feeling again the flats of the shoulders, the back of the hips to the floor. As you exhale, hug the left knee in. We start with a little pressure to the shin to round the lower back to the floor. On the exhale, directing the left knee out towards the shoulder. Then as we bring that knee back again to centre, we're using the hands in an interlock once more behind the thigh. So there's a moment where we press through the heel, lengthening through the back of the leg, exhaling to draw the thigh a little closer, noticing that this side might feel a little tighter than the other. Inhaling to point the toe, exhaling to flex, pointing to lengthen, exhaling to encourage that slightly deeper stretch to the back of the leg. Then on the out breath, again just a gentle release as you bring that foot back to the floor. Now let's bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees roll out. So we're just allowing gravity to soften the space in the inner thighs and to start to create a little more movement in and around the hips. So we don't want to push this too far too fast. Work with the breath to allow the knees to soften. Mimic the shape of the legs by widening the arms to create a T shape, palms turned up towards the ceiling. Again, a moment to scan through the body, noticing that slightly more excessive lift through the lower back. Inhale to widen through the chest. As you exhale, just see how it feels to draw the tummy button in and start to push the lower back to the floor. Slightly intensifies that stretch to the inner thigh. Inhale to widen through the chest, expanding from fingertip to fingertip. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in and draw the knees towards one another. Reset the feet hip width distance apart. So that creates a little gap between the thighs, between the knees. Then exhale to roll both knees over to the right side. It's okay to lift the left buttock from the floor, but try not to roll to the side. Just allow the knees to release over. Turn your gaze over the left arm and breathe that left shoulder to the floor. Find a focus point to the left side of the rib cage. Visualize expanding into that space with the inhalation. Then with the exhalation, engage the core, draw the knees back to center, draw the head back to center. Inhaling now to again reset that widened space. Exhaling to roll the knees to the left side, turning the gaze over the right arm. And again, a time to notice the difference between both sides. Wide through the chest, expanding into the right side of the rib cage. Then as you exhale, engage the core, roll both knees back again to center. Now let's pick the right foot up. We're simply going to pop the ankle on top of the left thigh, so just a little bit north of the knee joint, keeping those arms wide so that we're not tempted to hold the leg. So keeping the shoulders connected to the floor. Exhale, draw the tummy button in. Inhale, lift the left foot. Then on the out breath, squeeze that left knee in. Encourages a deeper stretch to the underside of the right buttock, into the side of the right hip. Exhale to squeeze a little deeper. Then on the out breath, release that left foot to the floor. Unhook the right foot. Simply bring the left leg up and over. Little bit of perfection here if we roll the left knee in towards the chest, widening on the inhale, exhaling to draw the tummy button in, inhaling to lift the right knee, then exhaling to squeeze the knee in. So we're creating that same stretch on the opposite side, very much to the outside edge of the hip, a little bit to the underside of the buttock. Then as you exhale, release that right foot to the floor, unhook the left foot. Now let's walk the feet all the way to the edge of the mat. So we're creating a really wide space between the hips. On the out breath, roll both knees to the right side. And this time, rather than permitting that left buttock to lift, let's see how long we can leave the hips square so that we can transfer that stretch to the front of the left hip flexor. Wide through the chest as you inhale. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in. Bring the knees again through center. Another inhalation to reset that space, and exhalation to roll the knees to the left side. So observation, I find it more challenging to keep my left hip on the floor. Just noticing those differences, becoming aware of the side of the body that may feel tighter for you. Inhale to widen through the chest, exhale, draw the tummy button in, and bring those knees again back towards center. Lift the feet from the floor. The knees are still a little wider than hip width distance apart. So let's bring the palms to rest onto the kneecaps, and we'll draw little circles with the knees. So we want to really get a nice wide release here. Then change direction, draw those circles the opposite way. Bring the knees again to center, placing the hands once more to the shins, another little bit of pressure to roll the lower back to the floor. Then we can start to roll through the lower back, almost like a little massaging action here, releasing tension. Bring yourself back to center. We're going to place that left foot on the floor so the knee remains bent. We're going to reach to the inside of that bent right knee and take hold of the big toe. So either popping the hands around the foot or index finger, middle finger around the big toe, extending the left arm out to the side again. Inhaling to press the right heel up towards the ceiling. So we're not too competitive in this. We're keeping a little bend in the knee. We're keeping the shoulders relaxed. Then we'll transfer this slight stretch from the back of the thigh into the inner thigh by exhaling and widening the right foot out to the right side. We can intensify again by pressing the heel a little more keenly, deepening the stretch to the inner thigh. It might help you feel more balanced to allow the left knee to roll a little wider open. But let's notice that stretch, back of the thigh, inner thigh. If you feel it on the knee, just soften the knee a little. Inhale to widen through the chest, shoulder blades flat to the floor. Exhale, draw the tummy button in and slide that foot back again to centre, bending the knee, replacing the right foot to the floor. Take the right arm out to the side, bring the left knee in. So same action, taking hold of either the foot or the toe, pressing the heel straight up, resetting that soft shape through the shoulders, through the back of the neck. Then exhaling to extend the leg out to the left, rolling the right knee open if that helps to keep the hips square, pressing a little more keenly through the heel to intensify that stretch to the inner thigh, to the back of the thigh. All the while the neck remains in neutral position, soft in the shoulders, unclenched in the jaw. Then as you exhale, engage the core. We'll bring that knee back into centre, but for now just keep hold of the toe. We're keeping hold of the toe so that we can bring the right knee in and do exactly the same. So pressing both heels up to begin with. So it's almost as though you're holding the ceiling up. That bend in the knees is actually quite beneficial as you draw a little pressure to pull the feet back towards you. It's almost as though you're tucking the knees under the armpits. Then we'll extend by pressing through the heels, release by widening the feet, widening the thighs, keeping those shoulders soft. Press a little more keenly through the heels, nice deep stretch to the inner thighs. Then again, we'll encourage that softness in the knees, just that we've got a little more control to gently roll through the back, one side to the other, in a nice, easy, controlled, happy baby pose. Return again to centre, bringing the knees together, hugging the knees in towards the chest, placing the hands on the kneecaps to draw a little figure of 8 here. So again, that massaging action through the back of the hips. So we've given ourselves a little bit of extra space into the backs of the thighs, specifically into the hamstrings, and a little bit into the inner thighs. So we're now going to press both heels up towards the ceiling. We're going to try and keep the feet hip width distance apart. So there's a little gap between the feet so that we're not resting them together. Be mindful of how you hold your shoulders and your jaw. So relax the shoulders again. Feel the flats of the shoulders really paste into the floor. Then as you exhale, gently lower the heels down just a couple of inches. So the intention here is to slightly take ourselves off center. So it starts to work the core muscles so that we can press through the heels and straighten the legs. So ideally, no bend in the legs, and you'll only achieve that if you lower your heels down a little. Inhale to point both toes, exhale to flex. Inhale to point, exhale to flex. Keep pressing through the heels. You can take a little soft bend into the left knee so that you can lower the right heel to a count of 3, 2, 1. 1 keeps the heel an inch from the floor, so we're not going all the way down. Wide through the chest, not curling those shoulders up. Inhale to widen and expand. Exhale, draw the tummy button in, bring that right leg back up. 3, 2, and 1. Let's take a little length to the back of the legs again, so pressing through the heels, going for that little stretch. Then if needs be, soften the right knee so that we can do the same on the left side. So lowering the left heel, 3, 2, 1. Keeping that heel an inch from the floor. Nothing fancy, no big moves here. Then as you exhale, engage the core, back to center, 3, 2, and 1. Press the heels again up towards the ceiling. Then on and out breath, hug the knees in towards the chest. We're not quite finished there. We're just going to do one further sequence in this posture. So again, we're lengthening, pressing through the heels, finding that little bit of space in the back of the leg, not overdoing it so much that we can feel it in the lower back. So if you need to soften the knees, do, but don't cheat yourselves of the benefits of extending and lengthening through the legs. Let's keep the left leg anchored. Take the right leg out to the side for a count of 3, 2, and 1. Little bit of control required here to stop us from rolling onto the right hip. Press more keenly through that heel, developing a deeper stretch to the inner thigh. Then as you exhale, engage the core back to center, 3, 2, and 1. Wide through the chest, inhale, exhale, left leg out, 3, 2, and 1. Pressing again through the heel, engaging the core back to center, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go straight to the next sequence, no rest. As you exhale, both legs wide, 3, 2, 1. Remain centered, remain soft in the upper body. As you exhale, back to center, 3, 2, 1. Now you can rest. Hug the knees in towards the chest. And then just release this off in whichever way feels nicest to you, figure of 8 or side to side. Return again to center. Replacing the feet on the floor, the knees remain bent. Hands again either side of the hips, shoulder blades drawn together. Push into the soles of the feet and lift the bottom from the floor. So this is going to feel heavier than it normally does because we've really been grounding the lower back to the floor. So it might take 2 or 3 breaths to find the space to open the hip flexors, to develop that stretch to the front of the thighs. Try to remain mindful of the distance between the knees. So the knees should only be hip width distance apart. Pressing the shins forward, lifting the thighs higher, encouraging that little extra curve from the middle back to the space between the shoulder blades. As you exhale, start to release, lowering down vertebra by vertebra, traveling from the shoulder blades through the middle back into the lower back, bringing the back of the sacrum to the floor, unclenching the buttocks now, and letting the weight of your spine ease back into the mat. Exhale, draw the tummy button in, hug the knees towards the chest. And we'll take a moment to replace the feet to the floor. We've been on our back for quite some time, so if you feel that you might be a little dizzy coming round, take the roll to the left. Otherwise, roll to the side that feels most comfortable. And when you're ready, bring yourself back into a seated position. So I'm going to start by drawing the left heel in towards the groin, stacking the right heel in front of that ankle. You may prefer to take an easy sucker pose, which is just a crossed ankle pose. Placing the hands onto the knees again. Setting a plumb line from the back of the head to the tailbone, keeping those shoulders relaxed. As you exhale, draw the tummy button in, creating a curve through the spine that you recognise as a cat stretch, nodding the chin to the chest. The opposite is drawing the sternum forward, rolling the shoulders back and down, then carrying your gaze up towards the ceiling, just stopping at the point where we start to feel it on the neck. Exhale, draw the tummy button in, roll through the spine. Then inhale, lift all the way to open the sternum towards the ceiling, shoulder blades drawn together. This time on the exhale, return to a neutral spine position. Reposition the fingertips in front of the ankles. Inhale to lift up and lengthen. As you exhale, we'll start to hinge the upper body forward. So the trick here is not to go too fast. The trick is to work with the breath, to find a little space in the hips, in the inner thighs, to try and have that hinge happen from the hip joints rather than the middle back or the upper back. So if you had a mirror to hand, you'd ideally want to check that you have a diagonal line from the back of the head to the tailbone. We can pause at the point where we can ideally get the forearms to the floor. If that's not within your gift, there's nothing wrong with being a little more lifted, but let's challenge the posture by drawing the sternum a little further forward. We don't want the bottom to lift from the floor. We don't want to lead with the chin, so keep everything quiet. For those of us who are comfortable in this forearm position, the next stage for us might be to bring one fist on top of the other and bring the forehead to rest. Again, we can achieve a little increment by extending the sternum forward, softening the forearms towards the floor. And it's not within my gift, but if you're in this one potato, two potato position, you've still got more to give. You can take the hands away and bring the forehead to the floor. I know that if I do that, my upper back will curve. Every out breath, we're finding a little deeper space in this posture. And I'm holding you here a little longer than I normally do. I'm kind of trying to demonstrate to you that the longer we stay in a posture, the more we kind of find those hard edges. We can work with the breath to just push comfortably through those edges. We never want to get to a point of pain or heat. But there's a moment where you just feel that resistance release a little, where we can come a little more deeply into the posture. And we start to wake up parts of the body that we didn't initially feel that posture in. Now, mindfully draw the shoulder blades together so that we've opened the chest. Place the flats of the palms to the floor. Bring your gaze to the end of the fingertips. So we're keeping the upper body nice and lifted as we walk the hands back towards the ankles. So that was quite an excessive release around the hips into the inner thighs. Let's now take the left leg wide. Fold the right knee, bringing the sole of the foot to that left inner thigh. Notice the left toe is pointing up towards the ceiling, and lift, lift, lift again out of the sit bones. So rather than taking you forward, which is where we've just been, we're going to isolate the rib cage by lifting and gently twisting. Don't know why I always put my hands on my rib cage to demonstrate this to you, but it's to show that I'm not just taking the shoulders, we're lifting from the rib cage, isolating the rib cage to twist, repositioning the hands either side of the knee, then on the out breath, repeating the fold, again working within the parameters of bringing the forearms towards the floor. And the trick in this posture is to avoid lifting the left sit bone, so equally weighted between the butt cheeks. It's very tempting to bring the belly to the thigh and lift the bottom off the floor. Let's play around with this space in the inner thigh, into the back of the thigh. And if the knee is twingy for you, just simply give it a soft bend. Again, the longer we spend in this posture, the more space we allow ourselves. I'm not quite sure what that pinging is in the background. I think it's my work laptop. How rude is that people are messaging me at this time of night? Exhale to just come that little bit deeper into this posture. It may be that you can feel the weight of the belly on the inner thigh. Then again, find that stability, pressing into the forearms, into the palms of the hands, bringing the gaze to the end of the fingertips as you slowly unhinge. I love the word unhinge, it's so much better than uncurl. And then bring the rib cage to face forward again. Same idea on the other side. So right leg extended, left knee folded in, lift up and lengthen. Reset the intention for that rotation in the rib cage. Try to keep the right toe pointing up. We often kind of forget and it goes a bit flabby and we lose the inner thigh stretch. Hands to either side of the knee. And again, we're working with the breath to slowly find that little extra space. I'll just put that helpful reminder in that the right sit bone wants to remain on the floor. So we're equally weighted and we're not rolling onto that bent knee. I find this side considerably tighter than the other. I'm mirroring, mind you. So you possibly found the first side a little tighter. And again, we're just exploring the edges. As tempting as it is, try not to let that right buttock lift from the floor. And again, there's ways of exploring without pushing beyond the point of comfort. We can just simply lift and lengthen the sternum. Then fold a little more deeply. Then again, finding that stability. Bring the forearms, the palms of the hands to the floor. Bring the gaze to the end of the fingertips. Slowly walking back into center. And then the last action is to reset the rib cage and the shoulders to face forward. Perfect. Take both feet wide. Little gap behind the knees. This time we'll go straight forward as we did before. So I like to use the hands to help support that journey forward. I would just guard against walking the hands because it tends to lift the shoulders. So find a comfortable point to place the palms to the floor, then start with the action of bending the elbows towards either the floor or the mat. So the forearms start to connect with the space beneath you. Shoulder blades drawn together. Again, those increments can be found in the simplest of ways, just lifting the sternum. Exhaling to breathe a little more deeply. I'm finding some quite hard edges here. So I have to remind myself to remain soft in the shoulders, unclench the jaw, and just allow gravity to define a slightly deeper stretch. Shoulder blades drawn together, we remain open through the heart space. Bring the gaze to the end of the fingertips. As we start to walk the hands back in, mindfully keep the core engaged to protect the lower back and bring yourself back to center. Lovely. We started off in the sucker pose with the ankles crossed. Let's do the opposite side. So this time, right heel comes in first. Left foot in front. Bring the hands either side of the hips and set that alignment where you're leaning back against an imaginary wall. So there's a sense that we're lifting the weight of the rib cage off the belly, but not lifting the shoulders. Let them relax back and down. Extend the right arm away, lengthen through the fingertips of the left hand. I like to sink the right palm to the floor because it gives me that little bit of stability. So if you feel that you're overreaching, bring the hand a little closer. Press through the fingertips of the left hand, fold the right elbow in towards the waist as you drag that left arm up and over, positioning the upper arm above the left ear, pressing through the fingertips. And again, just check, are we still equally weighted through the sit bones? On the inhale, we can dynamically press into the right hand, lift and lengthen. On the exhale, we can take that extension to the opposite side. So there's a moment where we draw the elbow in towards the mat, lift and lengthen, exhale to sink that elbow down towards the floor, all the while keeping the equal weight through the sit bones, reaching with the fingertips to define a deeper stretch to the waist and the rib cage, then inhaling to lift and come back to center. Place that right hand behind the right hip, left hand to the right knee, lift up. As we did earlier, we're isolating the rib cage, so we're following the rib cage to come into half a twist. Inhaling to lift and lengthen out the sit bones, shoulders back and down. Exhaling to squeeze a little more deeply into the twist. I should have explained that this posture can often make you a little bit bilious. If there's any air floating about in the system, it's going to come out now. Keep drawing the shoulder blades together, turn your gaze over the right shoulder. Then again, we want to be more dynamic, so press into that right hand. Inhale, lift the arms overhead. Come into a seated Hastasana, pressing through the fingertips, shoulders back and down. Exhaling, opposite hand to opposite knee. Inhaling to lift, exhaling, coming into that twist. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, second half of the twist, turning the gaze over the shoulder. Keep drawing the shoulder blades together, engage the core, press into the left hand, inhale, return again to that seated Y-shaped posture, pressing through the fingertips. Now bring the palms together overhead. We're going to make a really soft Anjali Mudra. So fingertips touching, pressing the fingertips towards the ceiling, posting the ears between the upper arms and softening the shoulders back and down. So challenging where we have that little bit of resistance in the shoulder joints. Perhaps we don't quite have the mobility in the upper arms. Keep that core engagement. We can feel that the tummy is working hard to keep the arms overhead. Just keep track that we're not unduly putting pressure on the neck, so underside of the chin parallel to the floor. Then as you exhale, engage the core, slide the hands back, creating an Anjali Mudra at the heart space. Take a moment to gently nod the right ear towards the right shoulder without lifting the shoulder. Inhale to lift, come back to center. Exhale, nod the ear to the opposite shoulder. Inhale, lift, come again to center. On the next exhalation, just gently nod the chin all the way to the chest. Let the weight of your head create a little more lift and release between the shoulder blades. Then carefully exhaling to draw the tummy button in, inhaling to lift the gaze, leaning back against your invisible wall once more. Extend both arms forward, pressing through the fingertips, keeping the shoulder blades drawn together, that lovely long plumb line from the back of the head to the tailbone, sliding the palms together, right forefinger over left, creating an interlock, opening towards the heart. Exhale again to engage the core. Inhale, turn the hands inside out. Exhale to soften the shoulders from the ears. Inhale to lift the arms overhead. Exhale, re-engage the core, pressing through the palms. Work with the breath here, every inhalation to lengthen, every exhalation to strengthen. On the next out breath, keep that core engaged and slide the hands back to chest level. Turn the palms towards the heart, widen the arms. Let's bring the fingertips in towards the palms, thumbs up, shoulder blades drawn together. So ego eradicator pose. If you're hating being in a cross-leg easy pose, you can change your posture. I usually keep you in the right side for a long time. I'm mixing it up tonight. Keep drawing the shoulder blades together, lifting the sternum, keeping that core engaged, building heat in the body. And perhaps a little bit of cramp in the right hip. Open the fingertips. Give the fingers a little dance, a little wiggle. As you lower the hands down, oh, that feels amazing because the shoulders feel heavy. I'm not going to let you rest because I'm going to bring the hands behind the lower back, left forefinger over right. The biggest culprit in this posture is the tendency to lean forward. So find that nice plumb line again. Make sure that the chin is in a neutral position. Then as you exhale, draw the hands away from the lower back. So we're opening through the chest. Be careful of tipping the chin up. It closes the neck. Oh, I love that. I don't really. I kind of like love-hate it. And as you exhale, release. Separate the hands. So just to avoid mutiny, I'm going to take you out of the cross-leg posture, but I'm still doing some seated stuff. So let's do Dandasana, because we did quite a lot of hamstring work at the beginning, lying on our backs. So let me demonstrate what happens the minute I come out of cross-legging into Dandasana. Every sinew in my body wants to curve forward. So remind ourselves that we're leaning against an invisible wall, rolling the shoulders back and down, drawing the shoulder blades together, and that core engagement is going to keep us upright. I have to face you or else you won't see the shape. So we're bringing the right arm over the front of the body, scooping the left arm under, and we're using that left arm to just draw the top arm a little closer towards the chest. The fingers are soft, there's no tension there. And then all I need you to do is turn your gaze over the right shoulder, keeping the underside of the chin parallel to the floor. And again, we're just pausing in this posture a little longer than we normally would, just to find those hard edges. A gentle reminder to press through the heels, to keep the toes in flexion, to lift yourself out of the sit bones, actively in this posture. As you exhale, engage the core, return your gaze to face forward. Soften the arms down by your side. Let's have the opposite arm in front. Hook that in. It's soft. The elbow is bent. It's really soft. Keep drawing that arm in towards the chest. Reactivate, so lift out the sit bones. Turn the gaze over the opposite shoulder. Shoulder blades drawn together. It might help you in this posture to visualize drawing the kneecaps up towards the hips, so it really activates the fronts of the thighs. Then as you exhale, release. Bring the gaze forward, bring the arms down by your side. So Lauren, this next one you're excused from because you have an issue with your wrist at the moment. I'll need to come up with a solution for you. But for everyone else, because we're here, we might as well do this. Just because we're here, you've got two options. You can either bend the knees and come up into an upside down table position, or your preference might be to keep the feet on the floor, push into the palms and lift the thighs to come into a reverse plank position. So find the one that suits you best. I'm just going to test something. Actually, I think what I need to do for you, Lauren, is bring you into Baddha Konasana, but have your elbows bent, your forearms to the floor, and lift the sternum I think that'll be the best way for you to do it. Sorry, I'm mindful I just left the rest of you to it. Yeah, keep going. Press through the shins if you're in the bent knee version. Lift the belly, widen the collarbones. And when we're all ready, release. Come back to the floor. That was a bit cruel, wasn't it? Soz. Can we just turn now onto one side? So I'm going to use my left forearm to prop me up on one side. I'm going to keep my left leg bent because I'm trying to mirror and I'm getting confused. And then the right leg, as you can see, has come straight out from the hip and it's kind of hovering over that bent knee. So the bent knee is effectively working a bit like a tripod to secure the lower body and keep the lower back nice and safe. So little kind of what we did earlier, but we did it with the legs up in the air and wide apart. We're just going to do a little 3, 2, 1, then a 3, 2, 1. We'll do this 3 times. So this is your last set of 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Now I want you on this next exhale to swing this top leg forward, and it still has a gap between the thighs, so it's at a diagonal. And then we're going to repeat the 3, 2, 1, then come back down, 3, 2, 1. If you're falling back on yourself, it makes me think you're trying too hard. So just get yourself comfortable on the upper body. Only place you should be feeling this is in the underside of the buttock. Can I get a thumbs up that you are definitely feeling this? Yeah, thought that might be the case. Super. Now we'll gently just bend that top knee, give your buttock a bit of a smack because it'll be feeling a little bit tense. And then we're very gracefully just going to roll over and do the opposite side. So set the tripod, the bottom knee is bent. We don't want to feel the bony hip on the floor, so get yourself into a position where you're not distracted by that. We start with the sole of the foot an inch from the floor, then it's 3, 2, 1, then lower 3, 2, 1. So there's 3 sets of 3. This is quite easy. This is the third set of 3. I always think the straight one is the easy one. It's when you swing the leg forward and you get the diagonal going, it's slightly more challenging. You can't really hide. 3, 2, 1. I did more than 3 on the first side, so I have to really balance it out. We technically did 5 on the first side. I pretended that I wasn't counting, but I was really. Last set of 3. Beautiful. A little bend to that knee, a little smack, and then I'll let you roll onto your back. Because we've just put a little bit of tension into these large muscles here that travel from the hips all the way through the buttocks into the back of the thighs, we're just going to take ourselves again into a T-shaped position. Tiny lift as we lift the bottom up from the floor. Then we're pressing the hips over towards the left side, lowering the back of the bottom to the mat, rolling the knees to the right side, then turning the gaze over the left arm. So that will help to release some of the tension that we've put into that edge of the buttocks, into the hips. And you'll also get a nice release in the middle back, lower back. The twist is always great, just bringing a sense of balance back to the body. If that left hip flexor is starting to feel a bit tired, a bit tight, just straighten that leg. It does intensify the stretch, so if you don't like it, you can bend the knee again, bring that foot back in. Inhale to widen from fingertip to fingertip. Make sure you can feel the shoulder blades flat to the floor. If you've got the leg extended, bend the knee back in now, draw the tummy button in and roll the knees back to centre. When you roll to centre, we're slightly off, so reset the feet in line with the hips, lift the bottom up and switch the hip over to the opposite side. So we're now pushing the hips to the right, again resting the back of the hips to the floor. Then as we swing the knees to the left, turn the gaze over the right arm, and that will just help to keep the weight of the shoulders equal. Back of the right buttock will have peeled off the floor, that's okay. You're looking for where you're getting a nice release. So on this side, I don't feel like I'm getting enough of a stretch to the right of the hip. I'm just going to take that leg straight again. Makes the leg a little heavier. Flexion is again good. Also gives me a little added bonus of feeling it to the side of the rib cage, which is nice. Then we want to take a moment again to bend the knee. Exhale, draw the tummy button in, roll the knees back to centre. Reset the hips and the shoulders square, then extend the legs forward. I'm just doing a quick time check. Lauren, you said you had to go at 7. It is now 1.5 minutes to 7. So if you have to jump off, that's fine. I think the Shavasana might slightly overrun, but if you're happy to do so, stretch yourself out into a position where you feel best supported. So if you need to put a bolster under your knees, if you'd be happier to keep the knees bent, or if you want to pull a blanket on, lower the lights. Just find the space that works for you. Unclench the jaw, relax the tongue in the well of the mouth, relax the eyebrows. Feel your eyelids over the front of your eyes. And then I want you to imagine that you can roll the eyelids backward, or roll the eyeballs backward away from the eyelids. It's almost as though you're trying to look deeper inside yourself. All the muscles of the face soft. And just starting to explore that quiet, dark, calm space within you. Just be curious here. Know that you're in a safe and familiar space. And for now, we're just welcoming a rare few moments of quiet and calm. Finding somewhere that we can simply retreat to. An important part of this practice is to find your way in the quiet, to not be waiting for instruction, more to become comfortable with the quiet that surrounds you, and the quiet you can find deep inside. accept with humility that random thoughts will crop up. Just know that you don't have to have the answers to those questions. You're simply finding a relationship with the quiet and the calm. If you find it challenging to stop your mind from wandering, create a focus point at the tip of the nose. Anytime the attention wanders, or the voices in your head try to carry you off down a rabbit hole, return your focus to the tip of the nose. And just notice what's going on there. Notice the cool air on the breath in, the warm air on the breath out. Perhaps start to notice a tingling in the nose. Where the attention goes, the energy flows. Now allow your attention to settle onto a part of the body that perhaps was asking you for a little extra attention. When we scanned the body earlier, where did you find that you needed to send your attention? Where the attention goes, the energy flows. So send that part of the body in need of a little extra healing, some positive intentions. Give that part of the body permission to release, to grieve, to unclench, to let go of anything holding you back. And remember, if the attention wanders, simply return your focus to the tip of the nose. Tune in once more to the sensations of the breath here at the tip of the nose. Cool air on the breath in, warm air on the breath out. Taking a moment to check in with the rest of the body. Feeling both sides of your body equally weighted against the floor. And starting to notice now the cool air in the room against your face, your hands, and your feet. Mindfully send your attention to the toes, to the fingers, to the nose. Give it a little wiggle. Wake up those parts of the body, and the rest will follow. You may feel compelled to take a long stretch through the body. You might prefer to just give yourself some love and hug the knees to the chest. When you feel ready, take a moment to roll again to your side, pausing to blink the eyes open, then returning once more to a comfortable, seated position. Oh, it feels cruel to bring you round because I can see how deeply rested you are. Soz. Bring your hands to an Anjali Mudra. Touch to the head for kind thoughts, to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind intentions. The light in me honours the light in you. Namaste. Take your time, go gently. I shall switch off the recording.